Yo, it's your boy here, Mike, your friend and neighborhood personal trainer. I was gonna do this video outside walking, but it's so windy you probably wouldn't have heard a word I said, so I'm here in the car again just to shoot this video. So you've probably seen the recent headlines that have been going around in the papers about how the UK is set to become the biggest, quite literally, country in Europe in terms of obesity. You've seen the other headlines like obesity is now bigger in terms of a problem than people being underweight in the world. All these things that are going around recently, getting people like me who have been in the industry for a number of years to really think and wonder what is going on. We're now, especially here in Europe and in the Western world, have more gyms open than ever before. We have more people exercising than before. We have more trainers and qualified professionals in the industry than ever before. But yet still, we find it that obesity, people that are deconditioned, out of shape, overweight, struggling with pain, is more of a problem than ever before. So it leads you to think, what the hell's going on? Why is this still such an issue? People doing the research are throwing these figures at us. You would have thought with all those things that I just mentioned, things would be proven, or things would at least be leveling off, but it appears that things seem to be getting worse. Now, in my opinion, which as you know is often correct, there are two things I believe that's going on. One is communication. Now, I'm not going to go into this too much, but when I talk about communication, I'm talking about the way people like me, fitness professionals, communicate our message to people like you. We don't really talk in a language or communicate in a way that's some people like you can relate to. It's often done in a way that's often intimidating to people who maybe wanted to get involved in exercise. People who've not done exercise for a long period of time are not going to relate to terms like beast mode and working like a dog, or going down to the gym and killing it. All these sort of terms that you may hear frequent the fitness industry. People are going to get put off. So we need to improve in terms of the way we communicate our message out there. And I've done it before in the past. Certain images that we use, guys that were like 3% body fat and looking like Arnold on steroids. Take from that what you will. Many guys are not going to relate to that, so we need to change that. But the other thing, and this is what I'm going to talk about in a bit more detail, is about taking personal responsibility from where you are now and changing your situation. Look, you guys all know my story, and I'm not here saying I'm holier than thou, but as you know, a few years back, before I set my business, I was in a relationship. That relationship didn't work out, and by the way, I'm not bitter, I promise. But the relationship broke down. She went off, went with some other guy. But during that time, looking back, I wasn't looking after myself, even though I was in the fitness industry and training people. I wasn't doing what it took to get my mind clear. I wasn't basically practicing what I preached. But when that situation broke down, I had to take responsibility and change. I had to start doing the things that I was obviously trying to sell. Start going to the gym, start doing meditation, start looking after myself, start eating right, start investing time and effort in me, as I was telling other people to do. Now, if I was doing that during the relationship, would it have changed? Who knows? If she was going to go off with this other guy, she was going to go off with this other guy, who knows? But the point is, if I was doing those things, I could not have blamed anyone else. It would be down to myself, okay? So the point is, guys, right, regardless of where you find yourself now, you may be finding yourself low on energy, you may be struggling with back pain, you may be with an overhanging belly, can't tuck your trousers in, you may be feeling low about the way you look and feel right now, but the only person that can change it is you. Now, there are people like me or the personal trainers that are here to give you help, but until you take responsibility, until you take charge of the situation, you're just going to find yourself going round in that loop and being unhappy and not making any sort of forward progress towards your better position or your preferred position, whatever that may be. So we have to take responsibility, and I think when people do, we will see a shift in these figures and these stats that we're getting bombarded with recently. I think once people realize that yes, there are many gyms, but the gyms are not going to come to me, I have to go to the gyms. Yes, there are different types of training programs, but I have to invest in one of those training programs. Yes, there's different types of trainers that I can work with, but I have to invest in one of those trainers. Those trainers aren't going to come knocking on my door and saying, come on, let's go out and do some exercise, or let's start looking at a nutrition plan. You have to take personal responsibility from where you are now, and I guarantee when you do, your situation will change for the better. So that's something that you need to consider. If you find yourself in a position where you're not happy right now, you need to look at taking personal responsibility, and I guarantee your position will change. Together stronger. Peace.